Welcome to the meeting of the Waterworks and Lighting Commission. The meeting is for the commissioners to conduct the business of the utility. It is not a public hearing. The commission will not be discussing anything that has not been properly noticed and placed on the agenda. The commissioners may, but do not have to, recognize persons who wish to speak on items that are on the agenda. As chair, it is my duty to ensure that the meeting is run in accordance with the state open meetings law and Robert's Rules of Order. Inappropriate conduct or disruptions will not be tolerated. Anyone engaging in inappropriate conduct or causing a disruption will be asked and then directed to leave. Thank you. Number 2, approval, additions, and corrections to the 2.1 Personnel Committee meeting held on August 13th, 2014.
Make that motion.
Okay.
Now second.
Is there any other discussion? If not, all in agreement, please say aye.
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 2.2, the Finance Committee meeting held on August 13, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, second.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then the regular commission meeting held on August 13th, 2014.
I move that we accept those minutes.
I'll second. Any discussion? All those in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There are no action items today, so we'll have the department updates. Safety Committee. I have something on the Safety Committee. I see that the new business is to allow the summer help to drive fork trucks.
It was a suggestion.
Yeah. Can I voice I'm not in favor of that? I know in our immediate area in the last 5-6 years, I know there have been deaths on fork trucks. And it's, I know at least a few of them have been young people not really, supporting the thought of how dangerous these things are with the weight and how the fulcrum changes. So, that's my opinion.
That's why they haven't been on them to date.
Yeah.
And I doubt they will in the future. It was just a suggestion from one of the employees on the safety committee.
Yeah. And the other thing, with fork trucks, a lot of people think they're made to go fast. And they're really made to go pick up something you can't lift and just get it there. I mean, what's the difference between 10 seconds and a minute, when you're moving a ton of material? So, anybody else have anything?
I'm with you 100% because years ago, I got hit by a vehicle that a summer help was driving.
Okay.
While we're on the safety committee report, Chris Zawicki, this will be his last meeting. I guess he's given his notice to MUW. He's moving up in the world to some organization in Wausau, so we'll be getting a new regional safety coordinator sometime in the future here.
Thanks for your help, Chris.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. You guys are really great to work with.
Is there anything else on the safety committee meeting?
I don't have anything.
Okay, line superintendent.
It's Todd today, huh?
It is.
You've been busy.
We've been busy.
Thank you.
I have one thing, and I talked to Jem on the phone about it, and I had to tie my wife up before I left because she wanted to come here and harp about the 5 trees we lost on Riverwood Lane going down.
Yeah, what happened during the storm is we realized that the traffic lights by the hospital there are fed off of that circuit, and because of one of those trees, we had no power to the traffic lights. And with the extent of the storm that day and trying to focus our people where the major damage was, it took us a little longer to get to that problem. And so we decided that being the importance of those traffic lights meant that those trees needed to come down.
Well, I can't say I agree. We do trim trees, and probably one of them did hit the line and knock it out. There is one that was right on top of the pole that, probably should come down, but a lot of that is for noise abatement in the immediate area from the freeway.
Right.
And, we lost that, and of course, I don't think it looks so hot anymore coming up and down our street, on that hill. So, like I said, my wife was beside herself about losing the trees, and we did call our alderman, Scott, about doing something about noise abatement, because there is a wooden wall that goes part of the way.
Yeah.
And, if we could get something else to go ahead.
I'm bringing it up at the Public Works Committee, which is the first Tuesday of September. And we're going to look at, there's a fence there, and we're hoping to extend it. It would probably be 120 feet in extension. I'm just guessing about that thing. But I'm not sure if that would make a difference, because you do have those fences along the expressway. But my suggestion also, and I would suggest that the Water and Light maybe replace them with some pine trees. The reason I'm saying that is that if you have a line like this and you put 2 pine trees up on top and 3 on the bottom, and once they start taking, they grow about 1 foot a year, that I don't know how it would interfere with the line if they're pine trees. So if you have the fence plus maybe 5 pine trees behind, I think it would give, because when you look at it, it's like a tunnel right down that street. It's trees on each side, and then that noise from the expressway just goes right straight down. So if maybe with the city, with the fence and Water and Light, maybe with replacing some of those trees with pine trees so it won't interfere with that wire, might be a suggestion. So food for thought that I think would be reasonable.
Have you heard any comments or input from the west side on the other lane? They put that long insulated fence up on the end of a bridge for a noise barrier. Might be interesting to talk to those folks to see if that helped any.
Yeah, those insulated fences are great. It's a little, they're pretty thick. I think I don't know, I'm not an expert on those fences, but I think they have styrofoam in between the wood, and it helps for that buffer. I don't think we're looking at insulated fence. It would have to be the Public Works, and they haven't funded the money for this, not expecting anything like that to happen. So I would probably suggest that they probably just put in a fence and not the insulated.
We'll take a look.
Does anybody have anything else for the line superintendent? Water department. If there's nothing, we'll go on to the office manager. Again, with the receivables, looks like our current receivables are $500,000 down, about $500,000 down. And I don't know, do you have any can you guys explain why, have we lost people in the area? Is it because of whatever industry we have is working part-time?
Well, I think it's a combination of things, really. I mean, I think sales are down a little bit.
Sales are down more because demand's been down this summer. It hasn't been a hot, humid summer, so we haven't hit the peak, so portables haven't been as high as they've been in the past.
Lou is struggling from a budget perspective for the very same reason. Consumption's been down all over the state for all of the munis. counties, so receivables across the state are down as far as consumption.
I mean, that said, I think some of the things that are playing into this are, as you recall, we implemented our new billing software about 2 years ago. And with that, there were a bunch of changes, refinements, so to speak, in our collection processes. And I think just having, that software, becoming more familiar with it, more adept with it, and having someone in the collections position, we struggled to fill that position and keep it filled for a while. So I think all that stuff is added up, and that's why you see the numbers that you're seeing.
You think having monthly payments made an impact on that rather than, having two different sets of, or three different sets where you have electric and sewer and then electric and water, but now we make payments every month? Or would that have improved that?
I think maybe marginally, and just from the perspective that the fact is that because of the monthly billing, it's a little bit easier to pay that bill monthly rather than waiting for that larger quarterly bill.
Yeah.
So I think from that perspective, it's maybe helped. So that could be another factor.
Just to let you know, my electric bill didn't go downtown.
It didn't go down?
No, so I'm helping you.
I agree. Anybody have anything else? If not, Director of Finance. Have you gotten any place with the rate case?
We're still working through it, we're still hoping, November hearing on that, so, but no, we haven't heard any more.
We did place a call up the PSC food chain a week and a half ago to the director of the gas and electric division, who I've worked for on past water rate cases. But anyway, he checked into the situation and said yes, apologized for the length of it. They're understaffed, and the ones they do have are inexperienced, basically, and that he basically said they were shooting for a late October to early November hearing on it. So that's what it is we've got. But it has been an inordinate amount of time since saying we filed it in early April.
And most of the experience, what he told us, most of the experienced analysts were working on the IOUs rate cases because they're dealing with those higher fixed charges, so they're putting them on those cases at this point, so. That's where we're at.
And all three of them in the state have rate cases, which is, usually they'll skip a year, but all three of them have rate cases going on right now.
Yeah. My thoughts on the budget process, with, the current receivables, the last number of months they have been down. And I think when you guys go to put your wish list for the budget process, for the budget together, that, you ought to think that, maybe we should not be as extravagant, or, maybe extravagant isn't the right word, but if we could do, a percentage of cutting of what your thoughts are, as far as capital equipment, or, addition of people, or...
Yeah, we'll talk about those things in detail coming up, but I can tell you where we sit currently. We are, our capital projected for 2015 is below our depreciation for the year, so we are doing some
Okay.
that way.
But we'll be back together probably in early October to start reviewing the budget.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll be done by then, at least the first cut.
Anybody have anything else? If not, Information Systems Administrator. Yeah, Matt, thanks for the new hobby, trying to figure out the iPad.
You're welcome.
Thanks for fielding all the phone calls. You had a busy one too.
It's bound to happen.
If nothing, conservation manager?
You got anything for us? Anything with focus or anything?
No, we're good.
How we getting along with ocean spray?
Right, as of right now, we have a voltage recorder that has been set on their facility for approximately a month now. We have left it on. We were in the process of eliminating that. However, I'm reaching out to them today to see if we should keep it on there a little bit longer. We don't have a use for it right now at any other commercial customer. So we're thinking along the lines of leaving it there just for a little extra protection. In case we need it, in case, you know.
So we're working with them.
Absolutely.
What is the Honest project, Sense project?
The AllSense project is, it's a project that we started roughly 2 months ago to detect any power losses of our system, theft. We work on it weekly. We're working in conjunction with the line crew, the trouble truck, and Moses and I. And we're moving along right now in the Barron area, trying to detect any losses that we might find to recoup some of our money.
You remember in last year's budgeting process, we budgeted the AllSense equipment because when we look at our APPA key indicators, we score very well in about everything, as far as the earnings and the amount of people we have and all those things. And one of our scores that we need to improve upon is our losses in the system. So that's why we went and purchased the AllSense equipment. So we're doing specific parts of our distribution system at a time to make sure everybody's metered correctly, to make sure there's no theft of service and all those things, to make sure we're getting the revenues that we should be getting.
Have you found anything yet?
A few things, yeah.
Yeah? Did you find anybody stealing power yet?
Well, we found
line.
an old Quepco customer, and they're kind of loosey-goosey, and they were getting free power for years and years and years. So
Yeah.
we've corrected that situation.
Bet you that could happen pretty easily. Anything else? If not, Director of Engineering and Electric Operations? Todd, do you have the electrical standards for line crew?
Yeah.
So you have a poll and you're trying to get, I take it, is this like an illustration or start what they're working on?
Yeah, this probably didn't come across as well as I would have hoped in the packet, but it's a CAD drawing that Moses made. And in addition to this is like a piece of the drawing, but then he has listed on the side, you know, what components you would use, how many you use, things like that nature too. So by drawing up all these standards, it gives like our younger apprentices something to go off of. If we say, okay, we're gonna install this 3-phase pole at this location, they could start gathering the materials based off of the drawing.
Okay. I take it everything's back, or close to back to normal after the storm outage?
Yeah, we were caught up from the storm within probably the second day, but we've just had a lot of, with all the rain, we've been seeing problems throughout the city here and there, and we had some helium aluminum balloons get into the lines a couple weeks ago, which caused problems. And you know, with all this damp weather, we see more branches being weighted down and falling into lines. So we've had, you know, more than usual those type of instances in the last couple weeks. that have been keeping us very busy.
Anybody else have anything? If not, the general manager's report. I see you brought the Blue meeting to the methodology to allocate the $12.4 million in rate stabilization fund. Is that completed? Are you guys still working on that?
There's a proposal that's been completed, and I think everybody's pretty much signed off on it. They're just doing it based upon the monthly and annual demand and energy component, how much you've purchased from Blue. So I think our portion of that 12.4 million at the end of 2014, or 2013, they haven't done the 14 numbers yet, was like 2.7 million, is that right? Yeah, about 2.7 million.
For our
For our,
utility?
yeah.
And is there a plan to distribute that now, or to still hold it in?
We've got to go through the budget process here in the next couple months, and depending on what our projections are for next year and rates, then some of it might be used then, we'll just have to
I
wait.
see. Okay.
So yes, there is. I mean, that money is dedicated to Rapids customers.
You know, and the customers first pamphlet that we had, they talked about coal distribution and the problems of last year. Do you know of any more? Are the power plants still in the same problem of getting enough coal in for?
I didn't read that. I didn't read the customer's first coalition this month, but I haven't heard anything. I mean, I think most of it was driven last year by as cold a winter as it was. And again, each year, so much generation is being switched over to natural gas from coal because of the pending EPA regulations that I would be more concerned about a natural gas shortage, I think, than I would be coal transportation. I think a lot of the coal transportation was also driven by the railroads fighting with the utilities on the pricing for that. For all
Well, yeah,
of it.
and they did talk about the Burlington
Yeah.
Northern, they must distribute most of the coal or whatever.
There's actually legislation that's been ongoing for the past 6 or 7 years that the utilities are trying to get regulations on what the railroads can charge because they feel like they're being gouged.
Yeah, the other thing they brought up, the Prescott Isle.
Power plant?
Yeah, they came
That
up with
ended
a
up-
settlement.
That ended up being a win for Wisconsin.
It did.
Yeah, I mean, originally we were gonna see 60 to 80% of those costs in Wisconsin alone, and now it's flipped to 10%, 90. So Wisconsin's only gonna see 10 to 15% of the cost to run the Prescott plant, and Michigan will bore the rest of them. Once they did the load shed analysis, it was determined that most of the trouble would have, if it shuts down, is in Michigan and not in Wisconsin. So that's how that was justified. So that was a good thing for our supply costs. Also, as far as Blue's perspective, I think since I've even written this Monday night, last Monday night, Medford ended up joining the power pool. So, and last night and Monday night, the other three approved their long-term power supply contracts, which is Trempealeau, Bangor, and Cornell. So all those will be joining the power pool, forming a west pool, and then working with the larger one in the east. So that those are all good long-term for Blue. More load you get, the better, stronger your buying power is. So.
Anybody else have anything? How about review the accounts payable? Does anybody have
I don't
anything?
have any questions.
Mike? No? Really? Okay. Me either.
Well, we made it a short agenda, we knew we were gonna be short commissioners, so we've got a lot of work to do in the next month on the budget and other things. She'll be back here a couple times.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So
I
moved. I'll second it, Mike in
Okay.
person.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.